Oh, you're just throwing, man. So she can just want to see skills, so you just want to make it.
All right, let's get started.
This is the line of scrimmage.
All right, everybody want to say something?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we just got a few things to review. Obviously, we're right through week one of spring football. I'm sure many of you guys are involved with that as well. And there are some things that are going to pertain to the fall and some of the spring. We'll try to get through. Then we have Coach Marcelli from the play that's going to come talk to us here at the end as well. So thank you all for coming this evening. We got a call from Corey with the Officials Association. So talking about changes to NFHS and some of their rules that are going on it. So the basis here is whenever we get into tackle football, okay, and this was put into place, I think it's approximately about 4 weeks ago, is when this rule changed a little bit. So everybody's aware of the crack block, right? And so because of player safety and the way that those things are going, the crack block is changing for everyone, right? Now we would teach our kids on a crack block where we would actually come down the line and then we work up to the crack. Because crack is usually first man, second level. So this is all this exterior crack stuff that we're talking about. But if we come down and we crack block and it's a defenseless player, okay, and we're leading, right, with shoulder pads, we're going to be in trouble. It's going to be a penalty. Does everybody get that? Okay? So what it's essentially turned into here a little bit is if you're going to crack, we got to turn it into a pick play in basketball a little bit, right? So your kid can work up there, but we can't teach the kids, hey, you're really going to go level that kid out, right? We're going to block it. That's about all that you can do. Does everybody understand that? We all understand why as well, right? So we understand why those things come. It's still a really effective part of the game, especially if you're running some of the exterior stuff, in order to run a crack so that you can get an angle on a blocker, a blocking angle on that second level player. Still think it's really effective, but again, it's mostly just securing the block as a pick rather than going in there and trying to level something out. So you don't take, heck, I'm going to put my best player out there and he's going to take the inside linebacker out, right? So we know what all the rationalization behind it is, especially doing a few sports here. Okay, and it also talked about their points of emphasis that they're working on, which will feed down to our level, which affects us, okay? And some of these things we already know here. So we already know about illegal helmet contact, right? Leading with any part of the helmet, okay? Especially you want to prevent kids from spearing. We're all teaching you that's of course. But if we look also at the player's responsibility for illegal contact, I think a lot of times where you come to this is plays that are broken away, right? And kids are trailing behind the play and they see a chance to go deplete someone. A player has a responsibility to lay off that. And as coaches, those are things that we have to go teach. Where do they really come into play? Punt returns is probably a big one, right? Okay, probably the biggest one. Because you have kids that are moving slow, and all of a sudden the play's past them, and they turn around, you know, and it's prime season to it. So we have to coach our kids up, tell them, you know, if it's beyond you, okay, if it's not making a play on the ball, you have a responsibility as a player to avoid the illegal contact as well. Right? And the last thing is just the professional conduct between us as coaches and officials. And it's a two-way street, obviously. Okay, so through the NMAA and the AFL has adopted, okay, the Stay in Your Lanes program. Okay, so stay in your lanes pertains to parents, pertains to coaches, pertains to officials. So everybody has a lane that we need to stay in. Okay, we coach players, right? Okay, parents root for the team. Officials officiate the game. What we really want to watch here is the dynamic between ourselves as coaches and the officials that are on the field. And I'm as guilty as everybody here, right? Okay, something doesn't go the way you think it should, or a call is made you shouldn't think, and your first thing to do is to attack the official, right? Or to attack the call. Really what we're trying to get to here is get away from that and go to more of a question the official instead, right? And not a what the, you know what. Okay? A why did you make that call, or what did you see here? Okay, so if we can preface to the officials via questions to create professional contact with them. Does that all make sense? So that means for some of us that really, we've got to change our language when we're out there on the field a little bit, right? Okay, and we have to realize, okay, I have a lane, that guy has a lane, and we have to bridge this gap. We're going to bridge it with questions instead of attacking out on the field. Do we think that'll benefit us down in the fourth quarter? Possibly, right? Okay? If we're constantly attacking the officials, we may or may not get calls as it goes along. But that's one of their points of emphasis. Okay? So if they think that they're being berated, these are things that they're being told all the time. Okay? You can expect, right? Penalty flags, those types of things coming against you. So we have to work as head coaches, and we set the example for our teams all the time. So if you have assistant coaches that are that way, right? You're the head coach, you got to make sure that all that information goes down through your assistants, that they understand as well. And when it comes down to it, head coach, you should be the guy that's talking to the officials anyway. Okay? All right, some rule changes through YAFL that have been approved by the board of directors. Okay, so the first thing we see here is fundraising. If we go back last year, what would happen is once you were approved as the head coach for your team, you can solicit sponsorships as the head coach. Okay, so you can go to businesses, you can start soliciting sponsorships. Nothing against that whatsoever. You could not fundraise with your team until consolidation and team meeting. Okay, sometimes that was what? Middle of July? And you're practicing in 2 weeks, right? Okay, so that's gone. If you are an approved BOD head coach, all right, so the board of directors came through, we approved a whole bunch of coaches here in our last meeting. So most of you guys that are head coaches, you know that you've been approved, and you have 16 kids on your roster. You should be able to see your roster. You can begin to fundraise now. All right? Okay? Do we still need to communicate with our team and have a team meeting if we're going to start fundraising? Darn right. Okay? We can't just start handing stuff out just to people all over the place. We need to make sure that we have direction and know what we're doing. Now there are some fears involved in this. What's the fear? Is that we extend football season all year round. That's not the objective here. Okay? It's just to give you more latitude instead of starting there in the middle of July to start earlier for jerseys and whatever else that you want to get. Now whenever you fundraise as a team, we all know that not all fundraisers are created equal. You have kids and parents that do a much better job than somebody else. You may have parents and kids that don't fundraise at all. Right? But how does the money have to be dispersed? Evenly, right? Doesn't matter. Okay, so money is always dispersed evenly. Now, if you have a team and you have 27 kids right now, and you know you might have one that's going to be leaving whenever they consolidate it off, they can fundraise with your team. If that kid is consolidated to another team, the money that they have fundraised goes with him. You will write a check to somebody else. We're good? We're good, right? Okay, so nice and easy. I was for it. We had obviously plenty of people that were for it as well. So it gives us some leverage to do some different things here. But just make sure, guys, you don't, all the rules of fundraising, right? Helmet drives and those, all those rules still apply. But we're just allowing you to start a little bit earlier, okay, if you choose to. You don't, okay, head coaches, you don't have to start early. You can wait for baseball season to be done. Okay? But some of you are planning on traveling at the end of the season and things like that. By all means, 16 kids on your roster. If a kid goes somewhere else, money travels with them. All right? Okay, OTAs. So we've had a lot of discussion about this year. So this is the approved program now. This is for this year. And this will just be the way that it's going to be. Okay, currently, if you're an approved head coach, you can go out and get a certified personal trainer, okay, that is compensated for your team. And you can start training now if you want to. Okay, but you personally cannot go conduct other training activities with your team. At all, right? Until the beginning of the season. Okay, so that's changed. So what's going to change here is at the beginning of July, okay, we're going to have 2 days during the first 3 weeks of July. This is what happens week 4. Week 4 we practice. right? So you'll have 2 days each week where we will have set aside 3-hour blocks, okay, at 4 different parks around the city, 1 in each quadrant of the city here. Okay, and you will have the ability to take an hour and a half of that 3 hours, okay, either at the beginning or the end, okay, to run an OTA with your team. That'll give you the opportunity to run, okay, 6 practices. What's the restrictions, right? There are no restrictions here. Non-contact drills. So if you want to get out, and you want to start to install an offense, it's fine. It is optional for your players. So this again, whenever you talk about the drawbacks of this stuff, and we have to be good about coaches about this stuff, right? Drawbacks here. If a kid can't make an OTA and all of a sudden he doesn't play in the fall, a parent is going to come to you and they're going to say he wasn't treated fairly because he didn't come to OTAs. We have to fight against that, right? We have to make sure that we've got all of our T's crossed and our I's dotted on these things, right? So it's all optional work, but it does give you the ability as a coach to get in 6 practices prior to the season. All right, no restrictions on that. All right, so whenever we start getting closer to that date, then we'll tell you guys what the dates are and make sure. Now, does that mean we're going to be sharing parts with a bunch of other teams? You're darn right. So it might limit your practice space a little bit, but that's okay. These are things that we didn't have previously. Now, if you decide to go outside of this program and do something on your own, okay, even if it's the same date and same times, but you go to your own park and you get caught, you're automatically going to be yanked from your team. So it's serious, right? Yes?
Well, the exception would be if we do the certified training.
Correct. Right, that's completely different.
But then that's just working out. There is no install, there is no coaching.
Absolutely.
It's just working
So
out.
during this time in July, you can go have your certified
Yeah.
personal trainer still. Okay? That rule remains the same throughout. Nothing changes with that rule. We're just giving us as coaches, right, and with our teams, the ability to get in some practice time prior to the beginning of the season. Yes?
Okay, so say we do get a personal trainer or whatever, but he can't do it on those days as blackout days, but we're at a different park, is that okay, or is it?
Yeah,
still-
certified personal trainer is on its own.
Okay,
Completely,
I just want to make sure.
yep, completely different. Okay, do we have any other questions on that? It's a good change, right?
No, on the like paid part, when we paid, does the team pay in or can the
Typically with personal trainers, it's paid per person, right? That
That's the
person's
other
paid.
team discount.
Right? That's
Yeah,
right.
Some of them have some one-on-one, 265 or team.
Cliff might know somebody that's a personal trainer that comes help out his team and says, here you go, 50 cents, go play. All right? Okay, so just make sure, hey, we cannot, as coaches, we cannot break these rules, right? You don't want to lose your team because of it. And the other thing that we're fighting against is soccer's going on this whole time. So the parks don't become ours until July 24th. So in order to make sure that we have access to these parks, we have got to be good about using the spaces that are available to us. Or that will go away, and OTAs will be gone again. Right?
soccer guaranteed to them? I mean, the soccer player?
Whenever they're divvied up, yes, soccer gets through, okay, a certain time point, then changes over. So if you go over to like Heritage Hills or something like that, certain leagues have designated times of the year. Fall, that's football season, right? So that's where we get first chance at those parks, and that's why we're able to practice all over the city at that time. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about spring football. So we had our spring equipment issue over 4 sessions. We had volunteers that came in and helped, okay? So we just ran day-long equipment issues with it. For those of you that helped out with it, hey, great job, okay? We need more volunteers, point blank, right? As coaches, we have to be more proactive in being involved in those things. But it worked out nice, really nice. Kid could come in one side, get all of his stuff, checked in, out the other side and gone. Okay, that same program is going to work for the fall as well. Okay, head coaches of fall teams are going to be required, okay, to be there for an equipment issue session. It's usually a 4-hour window that you need to be there for in the morning or in the afternoon. Some folks are spending all 8 hours there some days, or multiple days obviously there. That's all based on the amount of volunteers that we get. But as a head coach, we're going to have to be there for equipment issue when it comes to the fall. But by all terms, success. I think with the equipment issue. We also had a parent meeting for spring, and it was attended really well from what I hear. And it allowed the parents to get information about the league and and ask questions about the league, okay, from our executive director and people on the board at that time. So it's something that we'll also be putting into place in the fall. So if you have parents, we will start to direct some of their expectations of you as coaches, right, at parent meetings before the season starts. Know what they should expect for it. Okay, just remember in the spring, 6-play rule is still in effect. If you need a chart or something like that, just let me know. Okay, got a good one that'll work for you. But we need to make sure those are some of the things that get us into big trouble. Right? And as a spring coach, okay, you have till Tuesday of the following week, right? You play on Saturday, got to fill out your game reports, okay, through the coaches portal. Everybody's got that. If you put in comments into your game reports, okay, this is your time to complain, right? Those comments are emailed out appropriately so that they can be seen. If you don't comment about anything, nothing happened. Right? So make sure you use those game reports. All right. Heads up certification. All right, so in previous years we've used codes, right? So you go, you put your code in, you get your discount. Okay, that's because of some of the changes that USA has made, that's gone away. We would get into the details of it, but all that you personally need to know is that you can go sign in and get certified or recertified now at the discounted rate. That's it. Okay? Now, if they sign in as a new coach, are they going to put their district first or under NMI?
Yeah, put your just type in your district. Like if you're from Manzano, put in Manzano, and then what'll pop up is Manzano-NMYAFL. And it's that simple. Then you'll get the discount. No more codes to worry about. It'll be
It's just
easy peasy.
In previous years, like my registration is just under the league banner, right? Okay, so you may be under the league banner, but especially if you're signing up for the first time for USA Football, okay, just make sure whenever you go in, put in your district first, so that we have a district population going on there. But you guys can start to do that, okay, today, right? So some of you guys don't have badges for spring yet, right? We can start to work on that now, so that everybody can get badged here. Yes,
Is it still $5 for the coach, the assistant coaches to?
$10.
No, it's 10.
$10.
I did it's 10 for everybody also.
Okay, should be free for head coaches.
No.
Okay, as of today,
Head coaches have to go
They
in.
change it?
Head coaches, instead of putting Manzano dash, right? You guys will have your own separate code emailed to you for tomorrow morning.
if you already paid $10, you just made a donation to USA Football. Congratulations. You're helping out in the sport all around.
USA Football taxi.
You can take it off your taxes if you want to. No, I'm not accounting. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're working, okay, especially with your assistant coaches. All right, make sure that they have their application. So for fall, applications in for your assistant coaches, background checks, right? Those for an assistant coach, that's it, and get certified. And you can start getting badged. And it's hard as heck to start getting badged, okay, August 7th before you play. But they can do it now. And if their background check isn't up to date, if you do that thing prior to June 30th, okay, better for you than after. So we want to make sure, if you already know who your assistants are, okay, start working with those guys. I know a lot of them are doing other sports and things, but try it. If you can get some of the paperwork stuff done early, fellas, it just makes everything else easy. All right, so equipment issue, yes.
Are we able to get spring and fall like we did last year for
So it's the same. If you get badged,
the
it's
same
all
for the
year.
year.
Yep.
Should be all year. All right, so it should say 2017 badge, so it'll work for both. Okay, so when we look at equipment issues, we're used to these things being a little bit earlier. This is going into June. Okay, so we see how it's going to work out on June 10th. Okay, varsity and juniors, that'll be your day. All right, we still have the steal from initial day. You got 14 days you need to get yourself, okay, checked in and weighted. All right, but it's nice here. The kids come in, they're weighing on the scale, got it right away. Everybody's makeup date falls 1 week back. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're varsity or junior, you can't make it on the 10th, make it on the 17th. Okay, if you're a sophomore, you can't make it on the 17th, you got to make it on the 24th. So that's your makeup day. It's going to go down there, and obviously a general makeup day at the end. All right, we want head coaches to be involved in the distribution of equipment. What day are you going to go sign up for? I'm going to go sign up for sophomores, because that's what my team's going to be, right? So I can see my kids as they walk through the door. Right? We know that schedules are tough. I get it. Okay, so if you have to sign up for a different day, that's okay, right? But it gives you the leverage as a coach to do what? You can actually kind of be there while some of this stuff is getting distributed and watch your kids and make sure the kids are coming on through during that time. Okay? Bill, do you have something or not?
There's a couple of things. you guys know how the board put in you have to weigh in with 2 weeks from your weigh-in date on either side of it? That still exists. So if you have a kid that you know is not going to be in town on the 10th, right? Get in touch with that kid, say, come early. You know what I mean? Just tell the kid, come on down, we'll get them weighed. You know, we'll get them taken care of. Or if they have to come late, like Coach said, you know, come at the next one. Okay, so that rule still exists.
So what is the general makeup date then?
What's that?
So what is the general makeup date?
So that's gonna be kids that register late,
Yeah.
right?
Just for the kids that register?
Yeah, we're trying to get everybody done, done probably in normal time. The only other thing too is, once you step on the scale, that's it. Once the kid steps on, that's the weight. There's no more reweighs. There's some rumors circulating that there's reweighs. Reweighs don't exist. Okay, so once that kid's on there, that's the weight.
So I got a question, Bill. So if you sign a kid's waiver from the team below to come up, but he doesn't make weight,
Right. So he doesn't make weight for
say like we're juniors, and he doesn't make weight for juniors.
Right.
But you signed his waiver to play up.
no problem.
Does he have to? Do you have to sign another waiver for the?
No, you're actually signing that waiver to move them up.
To move on.
Yep.
And some of those you can head off at the pass. You know a kid's not gonna make weight, and you can go get a form started in the office. Right, so then whenever the mom comes in and sees he doesn't make weight, they can get stuff signed, out the door, ready to go right away. Otherwise, what happens to that kid whenever they don't make weight? They're off your roster, right? Okay? And then all of a sudden people are freaking out. And then we gotta go sign everything back in to repopulate them onto the roster. Okay, so just make sure, a representative from each team, right? Even if it's not the head coach, we're going to have to make an effort here as coaches to make that equipment issue work, so we don't have 20 days trying to issue equipment, right? Limit it down, try to get those things done. Okay, things moving forward.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
For the guys who did show for the spring equipment issue, I want to say thanks to you guys, because you guys made it so smooth. If you did, raise your hand.
Because I got on there running scales, right?
What's that? I want to say thanks, because what I did is I asked parents as they were going out the door, you know how they were waiting for their kids? I actually went outside and said, do you like it this way or the old way? Every single one said they like the way we're doing it now. So remember I said it wouldn't work without you guys? From me to you and from the league to you, it's, hey, thanks, man. That was big.
Bonus check in the mail?
You know what they say about multiplications of zero? All the same, all the same. Hey, I think there are some real initiatives here to make the league better, right? The equipment issue, hey, the OTAs, the fundraising stuff. I think these are things that are trying to help us out as coaches and as a league as a whole. All right, so if we look at things that are moving forward here, again, coaches council meetings, okay, first Tuesday of every month. We took off last month because we had a spring clinic. For those of you that came, okay, hey, we appreciate you guys coming on out. I hope it was worth your while. Okay, golf tournaments coming up. Okay, our main coaches clinic, right? They're on the 4th of June, right? That's on a Sunday. So we just want to make sure that we get as much involvement on that as well. So obviously we won't have a coaches council meeting in June, right? And then July, everybody's going to want to show up because it's time to get busy. Okay. Team mom meetings, okay, we have the Apple Camp that's going to be set up there July 18th and 19th at the soccer complex out on the west side. Right, it's going to be $40 per kid, t-shirt, lunch provided day one. It's going to be half-day camps, okay, essentially from like 8 to noon, both days. And we'll get some of the logistics to you guys moving forward. This also, okay, my reasoning behind some of the Apple Camp here, we're always talking about having more time with our kids, okay? Is to allow you as coaches, okay, if you get your kids to come to the camp, to come and be involved with your kids at the camp, right? Okay, so if you and an assistant coach want to come, and you want to run a drill, but you want your assistant to go around with some of your kids, to give you some leverage to do that, to get our participation and volunteers on up to that camp. Okay, practice begins on July 24th for the fall season. Obviously we're in the mix of spring, so still seem like we're way away. All the way through November 5th, towards the end of the season. I'm sure Antonio will have plenty to say about All-Stars in the months to come. All right? Does anybody have any questions about what's going on? We're all on the same page? Good to go? Yeah, wonderful. Okay. So tonight, okay, our guest speaker is the offensive coordinator for La Cueva High School, Michael Marcelli. Coach, you'll come on up. We'll let you get set up. That's the one friend in the one friend in the class for you. That's better than the parents' group, I'm sure. You're doing all right. If you guys look at, for our YAPL team, a lot of the stuff that we do is trying to mirror what they're doing at the high school level. So hand signal wise, formation wise, okay, play calls, those types of things, just trying to mirror a lot of what you see on Friday nights out there, on Thursday nights, depending on what you're doing. If you guys have a way to contact some of your local high school coaches and see what's going on, it can't hurt. Some of you guys run really good programs, you want to stick with what you do, I understand it, 100%. But all the input that you guys can get from other folks out there, we might learn something that we don't otherwise know, right? We're not sure what's going on. Is there a bill? Is there a VGA connection? No, this VGA. And after he's done, that might be the shortest coaches meeting you'll ever have. Right there.
What do you do now? I don't know. When you play each other, what's going to happen? That what? Red plays black. What you going to do?
How'd everything with week 1 of spring go, you guys? Everything all right?
They also take you
Bad weather, yes.
No,
If the bad weather is worse than ever, okay.
No, I was.
Okay, officiating, 7-on-7 officiating, everything's all
I heard
right.
the guy called Biggie for me. I would just do my things. When the parent get in there, I told him, no, that's the next we're going to nix that shit. You coach oh, yeah. Already got 9 on my roster for the home. 9 already. Huh? 34. Well, I got 9. Oh, no, I got like really got 14 because I got already my good coach same went on.
Well, I am Enrico Marcello. I want to thank you guys for having me. Offensive coordinator at La Cueva. Prior to that, I was the head coach at Valley for 4 years. Came over to La Cueva to convert these guys to spread offense a little bit. So tonight I'm going to talk about getting the ball to the perimeter via pass and run, because I know sometimes YAPL's hard to throw the ball. So we will do it via pass and run. We talk about attacking the perimeter. For us, we talk about where our receivers start and end. So in a 3-by-1 like this, the perimeter for us is defined as that box there for receivers. So first thing we do to get the ball to perimeter is our screens are tagged to our run plays. The reason we do this so our linemen can run block all the time. We don't have to call a pass play. They run block on this play no matter what. Now they don't know if the ball's going out to the edge or not. And I let our quarterback do that. Obviously, that's probably something you're not going to let your quarterbacks do. But you can call the screens the same way. So we call them key screens. We have a key 1 screen, which means the first receiver's running the screen, the other 2 are blocking. You see how we block it there. Okay? And our QB signal is at the line. They just tell them which screen they want, and we run it, and they have a read, and they'll make the decision whether to throw that. For us to throw this screen, we tell our kids if we outnumber them in a hard pan, which is this line right here. Let me get the laser pointer up so you can see. For us, we tell our guys hard pan is this box right here. From where our receivers start to our end and then 7 yards. So how many receivers do we have right here? 3. So if they have 2 in there, ball goes out there every time. They have 1 in there, ball goes out there every time. Now, obviously, YAPL, you might not want to give your kids that much freedom, but you know what you're looking for as a coach. Do we outnumber them in that hard pan? Let's get the ball out to the edge. This does a couple things to defense. Obviously, it makes them defend the whole field, but now those kids got tackled in space, which I think is probably the hardest thing in football right now, to get a guy down in open space by yourself. So we want to make the defenses do that all the time. So for us, that's a 1 screen. For us, this is a 2 screen. So the number 2 receiver runs the screen. The other 2 guys are blocking, most dangerous man, we call it. And then we have a 3 screen, which is our 3rd screen. Number 3 runs. For us, it's all signaled at the line. Literally, our QB goes right here, here, or here, and we run that screen. If the hard pan's there, we take it. So we want to get the ball out there as much as possible. What you'll notice is these linemen are run blocking on this play. You can tag whatever your favorite run play is, run it. Then in practice, those guys can run block, and maybe the coach just throws the screen. Well, and so your receivers have something to do instead of watching the ball.
to give you an example here, this would be a 3-screen for us. Just grab and throw, get it out to the edge. I mean, that, for us, that's still, and that's 8 yards without doing a whole lot of work. So we just throw it out to you. That was 3-screen. Okay. Now we backpedal on that because our kids dropped the bubble. So that's what I would do in the outfield. We just backpedal, look at them, we catch it when it hits our numbers, and we get outside. You see our linemen, they're run blocking. For us, that's a 7-man box. We're not going to run against that. But we'll do this all the time. Get outside we go, man on man, blocking. Here it is again, this we played Sandia this year, just grip it. Now we do a lot of 3-screen because we do some stuff where defenses tend to play us that way. But we have the ability to call any one of the screens. I like it. If this kid goes outside, he makes this cut right here, I don't like it. Just get outside right now, get away from everybody. Again, linemen are run blocking. So whatever your favorite run play is, they can rep it all the time now. And your receivers and QBs get some work too. So we get the ball to the perimeter there. Here it is again, 3-screen. Block, get outside. Get from the end zone. I'm going to run block and shoot it out. So we're getting 2 plays for 1, and that's a common theme in our offense. Here it is again. Just, I know you've seen a lot of 3 screens, so I'll go to the next one, but same type of stuff. Okay. Here it is again. We play on nothing playoffs. Get it outside. We've got a lot of these teams want to play man coverage or put a lot of guys in the box. We're going to get it out to the edge, make them run to the football. Now off of that, next thing we do, okay, we hit that thing a few times. Now I call it. Now I go pump and go. Should be a touchdown. We don't hit it, but I just wanted to give you an example. That's 6. Kid makes it. We don't make a great play there, but so now we have a little something off of it to help us out, you know, to take those shots. And now we take a shot that we've set up instead of just heaving it up to the guy. I wanted to show you one other set of screens before I move on here. So this one, this is the outside receiver screen.